Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hard Nine podcast. Today is April 1st, but it is no April Fool's as it is Overreaction Monday. The Cardinals go 1-3, which, by the way, one of us said would probably happen at
I
Los
was so
Angeles Chavez
close.
Ravine.
I was so close to being right. I was so close.
Well, you know what they say
Yeah,
about close.
yeah, I guess. And it was an interesting, definitely an interesting game. Interesting series, sorry. You know, I don't think there's much to take from it. That's my take. My takeaway is there's not much to take from it. The Dodgers are gonna make a lot of teams look bad. Like that team, my takeaway, that team's freaking good. Like really good.
Yeah,
Like they're just it's impossible. Like the thing that was interesting about this last game, we might want to go game by game, but I don't know if there's much point. We can just
no,
hit
there's not.
the big notes here. But like they stopped Mookie and Shohei and Freddie and get the final game of the series, and then Max Muncy and Teoscar get you. Like it's a gauntlet of a lineup, and yeah, I mean they're gonna win. I think they're gonna push to break the Mariners record. I
I mean,
really
they
do.
could, especially if Gavin Stone looks like Gavin Stone, like he did against us.
They
Look,
don't even have Kershaw or Bueller yet.
I think I get it I get it. Obviously, last night was great. Bobby Miller, we made look dramatically better than what
No,
Bobby Miller is.
no. Bobby Miller had the best stuff I think I've ever seen.
And then game
I don't think
three,
that's fair. Hold on, I don't think what you just said is fair because I think there's a difference between like you can tell when a pitcher's on and when an offense is bad. He, no one was hitting that guy. He could have faced the 1927 Yankees would have had heart attacks facing over 82 miles per hour, but
oh
he could have
geez,
faced the
there we
Braves
go.
of last year, and he would have shut him out. Like there
You
are
can't
times the
say
pitchers are
that.
like that.
You have no idea what
Dude,
the
did you
Braves of
you
last year
did
would have done.
okay? No, there are zero people that watched that game that said the Cardinals should have hit him better.
I
It's just
understand
not
that.
going to happen. Like there are
My
nights
point
where you're not
is,
going to be able to do that.
I get it. I get it. Um, Massive concerns. One home run, that's a concern in 4 games. I
Mhm.
think that's something. Mookie Betts has
Is it
4.
is it a concern or is it just they played bad for 4 games
I think it's a
against the best
I
pitching
think
staff in
here okay,
baseball?
let me say this. Here's the concern for me. It was a microcosm of what we saw last year. Um like that it was literally that first 4 game series summed up 2023. No
I don't think the
hitting,
last two games did.
didn't go deep with the pitching even though we were sold on innings. Didn't do that at all. Bullpen erupted when it didn't need to. Didn't do really any situational baseball at all. Now you can argue the first 2 games there weren't a lot of opportunities.
Well, that's
23
not true.
hits.
Okay, hold on. That's not true though. Like they scored almost all their runs on situational hitting the last 2 games.
What do you mean? I mean, explain
That
that
means
to
Victor
me.
Scott was scoring runs in the last 2 games at will because of his base running and they're putting the ball in play.
Okay. That's one guy. I apologize.
That's two games. Like all their
Okay,
runs the last 2 games were all situational baseball.
23
Like,
hits, 25 left on base. Again, it's a
yeah,
microcosm of what we've seen for the last. This was game 163 through 166. It sure felt like of the 2023 season.
I don't know. Like we'll see. Like they're about to play here in 10 minutes, and I'll have it on in the background, but we'll see. I don't think it's fair to like say like if we go into LA, this is what going in and losing 3 or 4 to the Dodgers looks like. Like that's what it looks like. You get shut down by their pitching, which by the way, the last 2 games they scored what 4 runs and what they scored in the third game, 5 runs.
5,
Yeah,
yeah.
9 runs last 2 games. I'll take that. But their pitching was really good in the last 2 games. Really good. Their bullpen wasn't great, but also Lance Lynn I think would have gone deep into the game had a rain delay not happened. Match wasn't built up all the way, or he would have gone deeper in that game, which is a different problem. I don't know why he wouldn't be built up all the way. The
Agreed.
first two starters were bad. Michaelis and Thompson were just flat out bad.
Can we talk about
Like
Miles for a
that's
minute?
that's true.
And I've been very vocal.
Hmm.
Miles Michaelis seems like a nice guy. Like I'll be really honest, he seems fun. He seems all that. But I'm gonna be honest, as of right now, where we sit, and I hope I am wrong in 3 months. I am really tired of the Miles Michaelis show. I'm tired of him bitching about the Dodgers paying money when he's getting paid $20 million to not be good. I'm tired of him bitching about pitch counts because there's a slow roller, one ball hit slow roller through, and that's what he's calling all the soft contact. Disregards the home run he gave up. Disregards a whole lot of balls that
Too.
were ripped. I'm also like, hey, Miles, let's talk about the fact that you had 2 strikes on the first 5 batters in the game and every one of them reached. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it's time for you
Hmm.
to put up or shut up. like, and I'm not trying to be a dick here, but I am really honestly just sick of the Miles Michaelis. There's always something with him on why he wasn't successful that night, and it's kind of getting old.
You know who it reminds me of?
I'm ready.
Adam Wainwright. That's who it reminds me of. That's Adam Wainwright. That's what he's done forever. Adam Wainwright, love him, great player. Made excuses every single time he was bad. Every time. Oh, I'm playing in Cincinnati. Oh, they just got me tonight. Tip your cap. Oh, a couple dribblers here and there. It's a different game. Yeah, okay, but that's not what happened. Like the thing that made me angry about those comments, and yes, that ball hit by Freddie was not hit hard.
Agreed. That's
And
baseball.
also, you want to blame somebody? Blame your manager. Why the hell is the infield in the first game of the series?
First game
Hold
of the
on.
season.
Yeah, we need to talk about Ollie in a second because I think he managed a horrible opening series. Like
Agreed.
horrible. The worst I've ever seen him manage. So we'll get to that in a second because I do defend Ollie a lot. I thought it was pathetic the way he managed the series. But putting that aside, like you had an out because Shohei ran to third on accident.
Correct.
Like so you want to talk about like does that not even out, buddy?
Yeah,
He could have given up 5.
He won't bring that up ever. He'll never bring that up.
I like Miles. Like I don't want to bury him. I get the desire to take positives and move forward, which I think is what he does, and deal with the negatives internally. I understand it. Like no one's gonna sit there and bash themselves. Well, some people do, but most don't in the media. But yeah, it's just annoying. And I get he's trying to be funny with all this checkbook baseball stuff. I get it. By the way, comparing yourself to farmers like they're poor, one, don't do that. You're from Florida and you make $20 million a year. 2, farmers aren't poor. They make a lot of money. So those are two
not
things.
all do. Hold on. That's not all do.
Midwestern farmers are pretty fairly compensated these days. Now, maybe you can say they worked hard and should make more. I'll agree with that. But they're definitely not poor people. That's not the case.
Well, they're not getting $20 million.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying he's acting like this is like the 1920s where there's picking wheat by hand and selling it for 2 cents. That's not what's happening. So that comment was stupid, whatever. I like Miles as a person, but he needs to pitch a lot better. Here's the problem. I don't think he's capable of being good unless he gets lucky. Like that's kind of where he is. He's got to have balls hit right at people. Like that's who he is.
Yeah, I have no faith in Miles Michaelis moving forward. I just don't. I want
think he can be good against bad teams.
Oh, that's fair. But hold on. The Rockies? Is that like we talking about the Rockies, the A's?
The Marlins, like he could be good against them. They suck.
I mean, the Mets haven't won.
The problem is 1, the balance schedule makes it tough. 2, I don't see a world where they end up getting 2 starters. They slot ahead of him for a postseason game, and I don't think he can make postseason starts for this team.
Well,
I could lose that start every time. I think
on pace to go 162-0. They'll be the first team ever, by the way. For those of you who didn't know that,
good for the Pirates, man. I hope they're competitive. Like if the Cardinals finish in last place again, then they do, but I don't think they will. We could have gotten some positives first. There are some more negatives, and then a guy we don't need to touch on. Nolan Arenado just looks like completely lost. And part of this is, we talked about this before, when Nolan Arenado struggles, he struggles unlike anyone you've seen. He doesn't look like someone who's struggling. Like Nolan Gorman's struggling a little bit right now. He looks like a baseball player that's struggling, going through a slump. When Arenado struggles, he looks like someone who's never touched a baseball bat before. And it's weird to me. Like he's check swinging all the time, and I don't understand what's going on with him. Here's what I do know. He's not on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Los Angeles Dodgers can have a $35 million a year contract that's not playing to that capability and be fine because they're spending a bunch of money on other guys, getting like the $300 million payroll or whatever it is. The Cardinals have 2 guys making that much, making anywhere close to that. They both got to perform, and one of them's just not pulling his weight. He didn't pull his weight last year, and I'm really sick and tired of seeing on social media, hey, he's probably frustrated. It's 4 games in the season. What is he frustrated for? If he hit better, they'd have 3 wins right now. So what is he frustrated about? So I don't believe that's the case. It's just he needs to figure it out, man. Like it's 4 games in, I get it, but it's actually 100. I'll use your analogy. It's 166 games in. He's got to figure it out. This team's never going to get to where he says he wants to go, and I believe him, and I think he's working his ass off. But if he plays like this, they're not doing anything this year. If he plays like he did last year, they're not winning. We talked about this before this series, that he was the key to this offense in this series. And he was 1 for 15 or something. And his 1 hit was like horrible. And his other time on base, he got hit by a pitch. Like he's got to be better. It's horrible.
my two keys to the series were Nolan Arenado and Miles Michaelis.
And
Like,
that's
look
why
how we
you go
just
one and
started the
three.
show. Look, here's the thing too with Nolan, and I don't know. Like our guy Kyle Reese put out a really good tweet today that I today or yesterday, I don't remember when it was. Oh, it's today.
It was today.
Um, Nolan Arenado hit his last home run on August 19th of last year. That's 117 at bats since his last homer, 30 games, only four doubles in that time span. In the 26 games last year, that at the end they were 12 and 14. They're now 13 and 17 in that span. He also went 0 for 47 or something like that in spring training, whatever it was, something ridiculous like that with no home.
He
I mean,
wasn't 0
not
for
no
47.
home runs in 47 at bats.
I
That's
was
what
about
I
to
meant.
say.
Sorry, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, sorry. But I don't know if there's an injury. I don't know if there's a massive decline. I don't know if there's just a fall over the cliff. I don't know what's going on. But remember, if you remember when we got on here at the end of the 2022 season, when the playoffs started, I said to me, your superstars, and this is not me. I'm not like saying I came up with this. I don't agree with that at all. But your superstars have to show up. And
Hmm.
Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado did not show up in the two games versus the Phillies. They have to show up for a full season this year for the Cardinals to be competitive and be in the central race. If one of
And
them or
Goldie
both of
has so
them do,
far.
right, agreed. And well, to be fair, Goldie has shown up almost every time we've needed
Goldie's
him
awesome,
outside
dude.
of some.
I love Goldie.
Right,
He's awesome.
right. But if they don't, this team is going to be buried by the middle of the summer again, and both of those players are not going to be on the St. Louis Cardinals in August. I don't care what anybody tries to tell me. And if they are, it's failed management because there is no reason for them to be if you're buried again.
Yeah. The only one that could be would be Arenado, but I think he'd be moved in the offseason. So yeah, I agree. It, and I love Nolan. Like, here's the thing, and I said this on
Same,
Twitter. I
same.
don't but I don't have any baseball reason. I don't have any stats to back up my thinking that Nolan Arenado is still going to be a great player. I can't give you anything. You just read the stats. Like, there's no bright side to that. His defense looks weird. He made another error. Like, he still doesn't look like Nolan. I believe in the human being. And sometimes that's just all you have. Like, I believe in the competitor. I believe in how hard he works, even though I think a lot of times that's to his detriment because I think he gets so antsy and wants to compete and win so bad that he's up there looking like he's on cocaine. Like, that's the only way I can explain it. Like, and we've always said he's fidgety, but sometimes it just ramps up to a level of like ridiculousness almost. Um, I believe in him. I think he's going to have a good year. I really do. But it's got to start today. Like, we cannot go back to Bush 1-6 or 2-5. No, you got to show up. Sorry, like, you
I
got to show
agree.
up today. You're in NL West stadiums, where you have historically thrived in. He's been great in NL West stadiums, dating all the way back to Colorado. He's hit really well in San Diego. It's time for him to step up today. They're facing a knuckleballer, so good luck.
By the way, before we move on and go through some other things with Ollie and we go through some other things, I I I keep saying this. And I know now it's probably at the point where people look at me like cross-eyed and think that what I'm saying is idiotic, but I will stick to the fact that Mookie Betts might not only be the most underrated slash underappreciated player in Major League Baseball, he's approaching like MLB history underrated. Like what that guy does,
Mhm.
homering in what his first four games of the season. I mean, he that man shows
He's
up.
incredible.
That man shows up when you need Mookie Betts. And I'm sure there's been a stretch in his career. Somebody's going to look up and tell me, well,
Last
there was
postseason,
right, right, okay,
last
right.
postseason, him and Freddie had one hit combined,
Agreed. Yes. And and
but that's
as
baseball.
for me to say no, bash Nolan for that, I got to look at that also.
Yeah, but there's a
However,
difference though. Mookie has a championship.
correct. And multiple MVP, two MVPs or just one? One. He's on his way to a second one right now. It's
Yeah,
early, but
yes.
I just think that guy just does everything. I mean, literally everything you could ever ask. I mean, to move, I mean, you're talking about a gold glove right fielder who moves to second base and now for the good of the team says, I'll play shortstop. And he continues to rake. There's a lot of guys who would probably take that to the plate, working at
Hmm.
the hardest position in baseball, probably to play a shortstop. I mean, you could argue
Second
catcher.
hardest.
You could
Catcher is
argue
harder.
catcher. Right. I agree. But I mean, for him to go out there and just start raking, I love to watch him play the game. I am a massive, massive Mookie Betts fan.
Yeah, me too. I think he's great. I think he's not impact wide in terms of what this guy get off the field. But I think in terms of like who he is as a player and how amazing he is, he's the Roberto Clemente of our generation. I truly believe that in terms
I
of how
love
good he
that.
is. Like I do like he, especially when he's in right field. Now that he's not out there, it doesn't make as much sense. But when he was out there, it's like the dude does everything. He's incredible. Um, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt, slam dunk. The thing that frustrates me, and I don't know if this is just because our pitching's really bad, it might be. But I feel like when we go play the Dodgers or they come to St. Louis, it's horrifying to face. I'll put Otani out of this for a second because he hasn't been there until this year. But it's horrifying when Mookie and Freddie come up every time.
Yep.
I love Goldie, I love Nolan, but when they come up, I don't always feel like they're striking fear into that team. And
No.
I don't know what it is. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe other teams are afraid of them and I see them every day. So I don't know. But I do feel like there's a difference between other teams' superstars and ours sometimes. And that could just be me. That could just be perception. It also could be our
Well,
pitching sucks.
that's a lot. Although Lance Lynn, hey, shout out Lance.
Great. Steven Matz and Lance Lynn
Yes.
were by far the two bright spots of this series. They were both incredible.
To be
Lance
fair,
danced out of traffic. He was really good.
Zach wasn't terrible. Zach
He was
Thompson
awful.
wasn't terrible.
He was
Well,
awful.
he only gave up what, 3
Sorry.
runs?
I think he gave up 5.
Oh, I thought he was only charged with 3. My apologies if that's the case.
I don't know how many were earned. I know he gave up 2 homers, 3 homers maybe. He was throwing 90. Hey Zach.
Yeah, that's a concern.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Figure it out. Hey Dusty Blake, figure it out. Why is he throwing 90 again? He was throwing 94 as a starter last year. What's going on? And if he is having this problem in spring training, why the hell is he starting?
Yeah, very good question. Let's get into Ollie because you brought that up.
Wait, before we do, I kind of want to get into some positives from the series that I took away. Just real quick.
Sure.
I'll fire him off quickly. If you want anything to say anything, go ahead. Victor Scott, really good yesterday. He looked overmatched in the first 2 games. I don't care what anybody says. That was a guy that was not ready to face Bobby Miller and Tyler Glasnow. Who is, right? No one in the lineup looked ready to face them. That being said, Donnie got a hit. Okay. That being said, yesterday's performance after going 0 for his first 11 or 12, I don't know exactly where he was at. Because I know he walked once, but 2 hits, an absolute missile into the gap. First big league hit and extra base hit. He looked really good. His defense is great. Some of his reads are not great, but man, he can fly and make up for it. So shout out Victor. He looks like he belongs as of right now. We'll see how it plays out. Lance Lynn, Steven Matz looked terrific. I thought like the best I've seen him against a good lineup as a Cardinal. He was locating everything. He got tired at the end of the game, let his changeup up and gave it a run. But other than that, he looked really good. Unfortunately, Palante couldn't strand the runner for him, but I was impressed with him. And Lance Lynn was doing Lance Lynn things. He looked like 2015 Lance Lynn to me.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Wilson Contreras' framing is noticeably better.
Yes.
Like he stole 8 strikes he wouldn't have stolen last year in the pitches I watched. Like he looks way better. He worked with William, who worked with the Brewers, and we talked about their catching factory they've developed down there, up there, I guess. I was really impressed with him. So those are the bright spots I had. No one else really deserved him. Goldie is still Goldie, but everyone else.
Donnie was okay.
I think he batted like 90, like 100. But yeah, I mean, he had 2 really big hits, but he struggled.
Gorman had a big hit, but
Gorman had a couple of big hits, and also Giovanni Gallegos looked great. So those are some positives.
Yeah. Negative, obviously, Riley O'Brien's injury that hurts. Why is Ryan Fernandez on the team?
Okay, so I'm frustrated about this because he looked really good in the spring, and I was like, I'm glad he's earning his way on the roster. That way, they don't just have a Rule 5 guy on there just so they don't have to send him back, and they're not using him. So it looks like that's what they're doing.
How many times do you and I come on here and talk about the fact that MLB says, hey, we allow you 26 guys. You can use all 26 of them. And the Cardinals continue to say, fuck it. We don't need that many. We'll just come up with an arbitrary number below 26. We'll carry 26, but we ain't using it. It's every year.
I don't get it either.
The roster construction. If you're giving me 26, 4 games in a row in LA, then you go 3 in a row. So 7 games in a row. And you don't use Ryan you bring up John King. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. Almost called him Ray King, legend. Cardinal legend Ray King. But you throw him in a terrible situation for him while Ryan Fernandez continues to just I'm sorry. Somebody has to start asking Mo and Ollie on their roster construction every day until there's an actual answer that is logical.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that move, the John King situation, you can trail that back to before then. Like the move in itself, lefty Max Muncy does not hit lefties very well historically. At least not the last 2 years. I think before that he had success, but since his injury in San Francisco, it's been pretty bad for him. So I get where they were in that moment. I get it. However, they were in that moment because when they were down 5-0 on Friday in a game that they were surely going to lose. I get they got 3 runs and made one of those fake comebacks they do twice a week, it seems like, where they give us hope and then don't follow through with the last big hit they need. Um, I get that, but he used Gio and JoJo on a game they lost, and then they were toast by Sunday.
Yep.
So like that's a problem. Sorry, that's a problem for me. Like you set yourself up for failure, and then your argument might be, well, we didn't know Lance Lynn was gonna get a rain delay. Okay, but did you expect him to go 6 or 7? Because I didn't. Like,
Right.
come on.
Right.
And it's just not setting yourself up for success. I don't understand that because Ollie's whole thing for a long time has been he's not using his guys in situations where they're losing. That was his thing all of 22. And he just decides to do it on the second game of the season. I don't get it.
Instead of putting Ryan Fernandez in there, which would have been the perfect
Wait,
time. Perfect time.
yeah. If you're not using him then why is he here, dude? Like, send him back. If you're not going to use him,
Yes.
why do you care if he gets sent back?
Right. I like it's every year. Last year it's Taylor Motter on the roster. It's 3 catchers on the roster. It's guys they never ever are going to use on the roster, and Fermin or fill in the blank. And it's like maybe I should dissect more into every team's 26 man. I have not, but it sure feels
Some
like
have bad ones, but yeah.
ours
Like the
is
Yankees have 3
garbage.
catchers.
And our 40-man roster continues to be a nightmare. Remember when we DFA'd Zuniga and he was out there throwing seeds the other night for the Angels? Like,
Yeah.
what I don't know I just don't understand what those guys do. I really honestly don't know anymore.
Yeah, it's tough. And Zuniga's whatever. Like, he was horrible in AAA, but there is also that question of why didn't you unlock more out of him? But then you can
Yep.
also say, well, the Dodgers had him and they didn't either. So who knows?
Can we
But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Like, Fernandez is here, dude. Then use him when you're losing. It's so simple.
between the questionable moves with the bullpen, the playing the infield in the
I hate
first
that.
inning
Can we
of the
get into that?
first
Because I
game
hate that. You know how
is
little
one of
that's
the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life.
it's not even just like dumb, which it is, because that would have been an out, and then you have one run in and there's no one on first. Like at that point, Freddie Freeman's getting him in, dude. It's Freddie Freeman.
Right.
I think I tweeted this out. I think Freddie Freeman's the best I've ever seen at just punching a ball through the infield. Like he sometimes this is why I had such a big problem with Miles calling it luck. Dude, he does this twice a day.
Yeah.
It's not luck, it's a skill. He does it all the time. He saw where the defense was playing. You throw slow and he hit it up the middle. That's what he did on purpose. Either way, I digress from that. It's how much confidence is that instilling in your pitching staff and your lineup? Like that you're saying, well, we're going to be at such a disadvantage against this team that we have to make sure this run doesn't score. Like, come on. Your team's built offensively. You can't score one. Are you kidding? He would end up being kind of right, but still, I just hate that move. I think it's kind of a loser mentality in my opinion. And the bigger problem as well is that you have such little faith in Miles Michaelis to strike somebody out that you feel like that's the only way you can prevent a run in that situation.
It was
And also,
mind-numbing to
Nolan
me.
Gorman just looks awful right now. Awful.
Yeah, I agree.
He struck out
Can
10 times in like 19 at bats.
Can we also talk about the fact that Mason Wynn had 3 hits and we pinch hit Matt Carpenter for him?
I don't understand it. It makes no sense, dude.
And then we question why our young guys aren't getting better.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. There's no one that should be pinch hitting for Mason Wynn in a situation, especially that situation when you're losing by 2 and nobody's on base with 2 outs in the ninth. But you're just killing his confidence for no reason. I get that he didn't know there were gonna be 2 outs before he made that decision. It's just like the dude is finally hitting. Like he'd already struggled for how long? A month last year. And the one time he starts to hit, you're gonna just kill his confidence by pinch hitting for him and then sitting him the next day for Brandon Crawford because he needs rest as a 22-year-old. Are you kidding?
If this is how Ollie's going to manage this year, I'm done. Like, I'm literally done with him. Like, the
I don't get
extension
it.
means nothing. It's time to move on. Like, if this is what he's going, if this is what we're going to be dealing with every series with him, we're going to have Matt Carpenter hitting
You think
for
it's
win
overthinking?
How do you hold on? Let me ask you this, just logically. You're a very logical thinker, right? That's what you pride yourself on most times. What is logical in Mason Wynn having 3 hits and saying, "Oh, we're going to pull you"? Sorry, 2. Well, 2 for 3. My apologies. We're going to pull you to put in Matt Carpenter to hit. What is logical? I don't care if it's a lefty-righty matchup or not. I do not care because I don't care.
That's the logic. Like whether you agree with it or not, the logic would be Evan Phillips is one of the best relievers in baseball against right-handed batters. Like, that's the logic. Now, I don't agree with it because I think you can use your brain and say, well, Matt Carpenter is not getting a hit here because I knew he wasn't getting a hit here, even though he did smoke a ball that at bat, to be fair to him. That's the logic. I just want it, like, we said this before. I told you, I literally called this, by the way. I said in the first series, he will get pinch hit for. Nolan just gave us a run, that boy. 1-0, Nolan double. I now I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just happy that Nolan did something. What was I
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I
Oh
just hate
yeah,
the
wait. I
crushing of
called this. I
confidence.
told you that. I told you that there was going to be on the bat in the first series where Mason Wing gets pinch hit for by Matt Carpenter, and it happened in the ninth, like I said it would. It's just frustrating, man. Like the argument he could make, and it would be a fair one actually. In that situation, Matt Carpenter is still really good at drawing walks, and you say you need a base runner any way you can get it, and the odds would tell you Carpenter has a higher probability of getting on than Mason Wynn in that situation, and that's probably true. But I still don't agree with it. That would just be the reasoning behind it.
The long game is with Mason Wynn, not Matt Carpenter.
I agree.
That's the logic. That's the only logic you need right there. That's
Do you
it.
think do you think that exact situation is one of the reasons why Mo gave him an extension? Is to say, hey, don't worry about winning at all costs right now. The long game still matters to us.
But that's
You know what I
defeating
mean?
the long game, dude. That's what I'm
But that's
saying.
what but that's what I'm saying is he might have gone against it there. But don't you think Mo would have rather had Mason Wynn hit in that situation?
I bro, I don't know anymore. I don't know.
I would guess. I don't know, but I would guess
Can
so.
we can we talk a little bit about what Twitter is blowing up about right now? Tyler O'Neill has 2 bombs. Jack Flaherty shoved. Jordan Hicks fucking shoved. And
Yep.
Dakota Hudson looked good in Coors Field.
No, he didn't.
Wait,
No,
through
he
five
didn't.
innings he did. He hadn't given up a
Well,
run through 5 innings.
yeah, but he gave up like five, even though they were unearned. Did you see Morel got a little league infield homer? I mean, inside the park homer because Nolan Jones has 4 errors in 4 games in left field.
Yes.
4 errors in the outfield.
Did you see
How's
him
that
just drop
possible?
a fly ball? Just a regular fly ball.
He can mash, but put him back at third base, dude.
I mean,
Put
that's
him back at
hey,
third
that's
base.
do you think that's what the rest of the league is saying with Jordan Walker?
No, because they have Nolan Arenado.
I know, but you see what I'm like.
You know what's funny? I just like no one's gonna have 4 extra base hits today after we just
I
talked
hope
about it.
so. Hey, maybe we need that juju.
I
And
hope
then
so
Miles
too, dude.
Miles can
I'm
shove
not.
tomorrow night. That's fine.
I fine. Yeah, I was gonna say almost
Agreed.
we should have recorded this after this game because we might have some
Yeah.
differing opinions. But good. Like they have a run off Matt Waldron, who's Matt Waldron. Like he throws a knuckleball, but I don't care. Hit him. Uh, Wilson Contreras just hit a 2-run shot. It's 3-0.
See, there we go.
See, look, it was the Dodgers. I told you it was the Dodgers. That's what it was.
Anyway,
No one's
back
gonna
to what
hit
I was
that
saying.
team.
Flaherty was great. Hicks was great. And Tyler O'Neill looks like 21 Tyler O'Neill.
Tyler O'Neill looks like 21 Tyler O'Neill at the start of every season. So throw that one out.
True. 5 years in a
Um,
row.
I love Tyler, man. I hope he's great. I really do. I hope he's great over there. It didn't work out here. It wasn't going to work out here. It had reached. I guess it's what's the phrase there? Breaking point. That's
Boiling
the phrase.
point.
It
Yeah,
reached its
breaking
breaking
point,
point.
boiling point. Yeah.
Um, Jack looks really good, and Jordan Hicks looks really good. I'm not too mad about Jack. Like I get, like they unlocked Jack Flaherty. He just had injuries that went out of his way. Matt Carpenter bunt single. Um, he had injuries that went out of his that really had derailed him from his path, and he wasn't good with the Orioles when they got him last year. He might have just worked his ass off and figured something out in the offseason. Jordan Hicks is the one where you have a legit gripe. They
Yep.
never gave that guy a legit shot to be a starter. Don't
No.
give me the 2022.
When they gave him
Hey,
two
it's the end of
weeks
spring
or a week to
training.
get ready.
Right. We don't trust Drew Verhagen anymore. Like, oh, we're panicking. Please go in the rotation, Jordan. Like, that was not a fair shot. And we'll see. Like, Hicks is throwing 97 now. It seems like they've made a an effort to say, if you cannot control your 101, don't throw it that often,
Right.
which is fair. Like, he still has it. He can reach back and get it. But we all knew he had command issues, and that's why the pitch count would skyrocket. And then he would throw 50 pitches in 2 innings, and he wasn't going to be a starter that way. So I hope he figures it out, man. I love Jordan Hicks, so I'm happy for those guys. But yeah, it does bring into questions like, why don't the Cardinals get the most out of their guys all the time?
I get a kick out of the people on Twitter who keep saying we can't develop them. When you're at the big league level, you're developed. Like, obviously, you're going to keep
Sometimes.
working to get better. However, it's not that we can't
Jordan
develop
Hicks, you
them.
weren't. He wasn't though.
But what
Like
I'm
they
saying
didn't
is
let him develop.
we developed. Well, he was a great closer for a while. I mean, you can argue that he was a really good closer.
Yeah, at the cost of having a potentially stud starter.
Understand? I'm just saying they were like the minor leagues developed him. We just didn't utilize them correctly at the major league level. That's not a development issue. That's a managerial
Well,
front office issue, roster breakdown.
well, part of it is for Hicks specifically, and Jack's different. Tyler's different. Those guys were perfectly finally. I think they were finally developed. Whether they were coached well when they were up, I don't know. But for Hicks specifically, as they rush him to the big leagues, because there's that story. Yachty said he's coming with us. We always get those stupid stories about veterans stepping in when they shouldn't. I hate that, but whatever. And they never gave him a chance. Like, you can do that. You can do what you did with Wayno and Lance Lynn, but then you got to give him a chance to be a starter again. And they gave him a fake chance, but they never gave him a real shot, which sucks. But I hope he does well there. Making 44 mil. He's going to be a free agent again at like 32. Good for Jordan Hicks.
Yeah, good for him. All right, so let's get to the Padres series. Obviously up 3-0 here in game 1. You get Darvish tomorrow. You get Musgrove on Wednesday. Miles and Zach Thompson for the Cardinals toe the rubber for those 2 games. Give me your predictions on that 3-game series.
Well, I think they're winning this one. They better. We'll see what Kyle Gibson does. Hopefully he looks good. We need him to look good. We need him to go 6 tonight because the bullpen's already in a bad place, even though these were supposed to be innings eaters. Yeah, so hopefully I think they're going to – I'm going to say they win 2. They win 2 and lose 1. I think they'll lose the Darvish start. Musgrove hasn't looked very good. Even though that lineup does scare me against a lefty that's struggling in Thompson because they've got a lot of really good right-handed hitters. You might have heard of Xander Bogaerts, Tatis, and Machado. Don't know. But I'll say they win 2 out of 3. Oh, okay, whatever. He's a hitter. He hits, for sure.
Yeah.
He's been good, though. What's your prediction?
I'm going to say they win 1 of 3.
Okay.
I don't trust Miles Michaelis or Zach Thompson to shut down their lineup. And I'm hoping we win this one as we're up 3-0, but there's no guarantees. Kyle Gibson has yet to throw a pitch. So there's no guarantee yet there. I don't know, man. I just don't trust
I hope he looks good.
Those guys at all. I hope I'm wrong. I was hoping I was wrong, and it looked like you were going to be right, that we were going to split it there at the end.
So close.
And then in came John our bullpen, and there we went.
John King actually looked kind of good, too, which is what sucks. He hung one slider next month. He crushed it, but he struck out James Outman. He looked okay. That's just a tough spot. He'd gotten like an hour before game time. Like, you're facing – I mean, that's just what the Dodgers do.
Does question why he was in the game again.
I mean, the reason is because it's tough. Yeah, it's bad.
I know. I'm just saying.
The reason is 2 days before that, like I said. Like, that's why. And also the thing that frustrated me a little bit after finding out about O'Brien's injury is they played with a man down for 2 days before ILing him.
Yep.
And we didn't know it, but they were. Obviously,
and so they're playing 2 men down then because they weren't going to use Ryan Fernandez.
If they get up in this game, like let's say they're up 5 runs at any point in time, that'd be great. Let's see. Ryan Fernandez better get in this ball game for an inning. Like, sure, give him a clean inning and see what he's got, man. If he's here, see what he has. Why not?
Mike Trout just hit a ball 473 feet. He has 2 home runs tonight.
Dude, yeah, they almost went out of a stadium that's closed. He's so good, man. I'm happy. Bet on him to win MVP.
Okay, let me ask you this: does he make it? Is he an Angel after the trade deadline?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope not. I think he'll be a Philly at some point, right? He'll play with Bryce before his career's over.
Sure feels like it, but
that'd be awesome.
It's not too late.
It won't be for those 2, I don't think.
How much did you love the Rhys Hoskins, Jeff McNeil stuff?
Okay, this one was tough for me because I get where Jeff McNeil's coming from.
It was a dirty slide. I no argument.
I don't know if it was dirty.
It was past the bag, dude.
5 years ago, nobody would have said a word about the slide.
Yes.
So I grew up watching Matt Holliday and Marco Scudero's career. So, and cheering. Not that Marco Scudero got hurt, but cheering that he broke up a double play because that's what we did at the time.
I grew up watching Albert Bell slide 20 feet after the base.
Okay, if you ever want to hear about oh my God, what's the guy's name? Fernando Vena. If you ever want to hear about Albert Bell's story about hitting Fernando Vena and knocking him on his ass, he was on the Chris Rose rotation. Albert Bell, really nice person, it seems, by the way. Not at all who I thought he'd be based off what everyone said about him at the time. And everything I've heard. He seems like an awesome dude, just like a family man. He wears glasses now. It's really, really off-putting, actually, to see him look so starkly different from what I remember from the highlights I've seen of him. But go listen to his story. It's really funny. Either way, because he warned
LSU
him
legend, by the way. LSU legend.
I'll give a little snippet, but apparently Vena had done that twice where he just got in his way. He's like, you do it again, I'm knocking you on your ass. And he did it again, and he knocked him on his ass.
Really did.
And then he got up, and he was like, you don't want any of this. And then he walked away.
But anyway, the Reese, and then the Hoskins reaction to McNeil was fantastic.
I didn't give my thoughts. I love Reese Hoskins. I always have.
He's raking, too.
He's very good. That's a very good pickup. We said that when they signed him. That's a really good move for them. I get both sides of it. Here's my problem with it. I don't like throwing at batters. I've said this for a couple years on here. I hate it. I think it's the most cowardly thing you can do as a pitcher. There's no retaliation a batter can have other than legitimately punching you in the face.
Right.
There's nothing else they can do. You're throwing a ball to him. By the way, that guy who apparently had no control because he was up and in way behind his head, which is scary and could kill somebody if you hit him in the right place. There's no retaliation. A hitter can't throw as bad at you. Can't throw. I
Right.
mean, Bryce Harper threw a helmet once, but they got him
He did.
suspended for 10 days.
Yep.
Like, there's no retaliation to that. That's fair for hitters. So I hate it. I think it's soft. If you're Jeff McNeil and you have a problem and you want to handle it in any sort of way, fight him. See who
Yep.
wins. But you won't do that because Reese Hoskins is 2 times your size. So
Door style.
like Rudened won that one. Like I think I get that that's ingrained in our sport, and I truly understand that. But I just think it's such a like a fake tough guy move to hit somebody who can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Do I need to point out the big tournament where you drilled the kid who was kicking dirt on you when you were on second base?
He was kicking dirt on me. Well, like, and also that, to be fair, that was a long time ago, and you ingrained that in me.
I did. I did. I did.
I just don't
My
believe, and also I just don't believe in that in the big league level because it can
Yeah,
get so
I agree.
dangerous. Like
I
after
agree.
what I saw happen to Stanton, and that wasn't on purpose by Mike Fiers, but Mike Fiers throwing 90 and how much that affected Stanton for like literally 2 years. He
Yeah.
was not the same guy. I'm just off of it. Like, don't hit people
Yeah.
with baseballs. It's scary when it happens. Nolan almost got hit in the head this last series. It was an accident, obviously. It's just scary. And at this point, you're throwing too hard. And if you can't control it, it's just not, just don't do it.
Right. All right. Anything else we need to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I'm just happy the Cardinals are up early in the game. They're scoring the first inning for the first time this year. Is that right?
RIP to the Illini basketball season.
That's tough. Yeah, bad way to go out, but a great season. Like that was the most fun I've had watching sports here since I've been here. So I'm thankful for Brad Underwood. I think he's done a great job with this program. But it obviously sucked. UConn's winning it all. Like, I'm on to baseball. I don't have to watch. They're crazy. They're really good.
Did you?
And it
I
is what
put.
it is.
I don't know if I put on the Twitter or if I put on Facebook. If UConn loses, it is UNLV losing to Duke in 91, 92, whenever that was, when they were the greatest team I've ever seen on a college level. And there has to be somebody, like, there's a lot of people throwing the game if that happens. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. You think DJ Burns can get it done?
I
And
love
the
that story.
NC
That's
State
the greatest
Wolfpack?
story. That's one of the greatest stories in college basketball history. They had to legitimately get to
I had him in my Elite Eight.
they had to get to the ACC final probably to even have a shot to be on the bubble. They're down by against Virginia and hit a ridiculous three to send it into overtime and win. They win 5 games in the ACC tournament. First time that's ever been done, I believe. Now they find themselves in the Final Four after beating Duke. Like, I love it.
Yeah. And they won the ACC tournament, didn't they? They beat Carolina, right?
Well, UConn plays Alabama this weekend. Yeah, that's why I said they won 5 games. They were one of the play-in games. They won 5 games in a row. 5 days in a row they won.
DJ Burns is just like, that dude's
Beating
going to get paid so
Carolina,
much money.
Duke, and Clemson and Virginia, by the way.
I saw a tweet and it was the most accurate thing I've ever heard in my life. Whatever the NIL money is for DJ Burns, it's going to quadruple.
Yeah,
that guy is going to make a lot of money next year. Good for him, dude. Seems like a nice guy.
He's going to transfer to LSU.
Why? Is he from
That's
there?
the transfer money, like portal money. The dude who owns Canes is worth like $5 billion, and he's just he is Oprah handing out money.
Well, then why does their basketball team suck?
Well, that's a great question. Maybe they need a DJ Burns. Women lost tonight, by the way. Caitlin Clark went wild and beat LSU. Anyway, I digress. Anything else with the Cardinals? Sorry.
No, I do think, and we talked about the negatives and positives. One, I think it's fair to say 4 games in, we have no clue. No clue what's going to happen with this team. Also, I do think there were positives to take that, honestly, for me, were more important than the negatives, because I expect Michaelis to probably not be great this year. That's my expectation. I don't think he's going to be awful, but I think he's going to struggle when he faces really good lineups like he did first game of the year. Zach Thompson, I don't know, but Sonny Gray's coming back soon. He's on track, which is good. He'll be back, I think, April 9th, they're saying. So I'm not really too worried about Zach Thompson right now. But Lance Lynn and Steven Matz, 2 guys that I've been thinking, like, if they have a wide range of outcomes, and one can make the Cardinals really good and one can make them really bad. And to see those guys go out there and pitch really well against that lineup in an environment where their season wasn't like on the line by any means, but it was like it could have gotten really bad if they went out there and did what the first 2 starters did, and they'd be 0-4 right now. That was promising. And like the offense, I'm just not worried about it. Like we just saw right now, I think it's a really good offense. I think they're gonna be fine, but they need to hit good pitching whenever they face it. So Jarvis and Musgrove, no excuse to score some runs.
Any updates on Middleton or Sonny Gray? Like, do we know when those 2 anything?
Well, I just told you that Sonny Gray will be back April 9th.
Oh, April 9th. I missed. I'm sorry. I glazed over. I probably went to some happy place there for a minute and didn't hear a word you said.
Well, that's where he's scheduled. That's when he's scheduled to come back. So
Okay.
he's throwing
I
a
didn't know
rehab
if that
start.
was
Not set in stone yet. They haven't said it. Obviously, they're not going to say
okay.
that. They're going to wait to see how it goes. But
Yeah.
he's set to throw. I think they said 60 pitches Wednesday, I believe, and then that puts him right in line to be right around 80 to 90 when he was set to come off the IL, which is April 9th. Which if he's throwing 80 pitches, it should be in the major leagues if he's comfortable. In my opinion, get him 4 or 5 innings. That's fine with me. I'd rather take his 4 or 5 than Zach Thompson's. And then Newt on his way back as well. Seems like I think he's going to rehab Tuesday. I think tomorrow. I think he's starting in Memphis, so he seems to
Okay.
be on his way back. And then Middleton is starting to throw again, which is great.
Oh, good. That's good news.
Him and O'Brien both. Neither of them have structural damage. It's just inflammation and strains. It's not
Yep.
or sprain. Which one's the tear?
Strain is the tear.
Whatever one's not the tear, that's what they have. So that's good.
Right. I think strain is the tear.
Nothing in their elbows, which is huge.
Okay.
That's what
good.
Because when you hear forearm tightness and flexor
Yeah,
strain, it's
that's when you get
immediately linked
nervous.
to the elbow.
Yeah.
It's a really good thing that they caught both of those really early because it most likely would have led to the elbow overcompensating and then it's bad.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing they found it out when they did.
All right. All right. Well, let's hopefully take 2 of theirs or sweep them. But Miles, you got to be better. Got to be better.
So same as Zach Thompson. Like I get it, he's
Yep.
young and it's tough, but you're in the major leagues. Perform.
All right. Well, hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or whatever, please hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate you. And we will be back after the Padres series. Go Cards.